Hey guys, Garrett McLaughlin here. I want to ask you a simple question before we start. Are you spending time effectively warming up for your runs? Again, do you include a dynamic warm-up? Are you doing any kind of stretching or mobility, activation, any locomotion? Those are some of the simple strategies or areas to focus on before your runs. And if you do not do any kind of structured dynamic warm-up because you're not sure what to do, if you just don't have the time, once you get into your running, you're gonna feel very sluggish. It's gonna be very challenging to get moving. Those first 10 to 15 minutes are almost more dreadful than they are enjoyable. But if you include just 3 to 5 minutes of an effective dynamic warm-up, those first few miles, once you start to get moving, will be very good. Your body will feel prepped and primed and ready to move. You'll feel loose, right muscles are firing, and you'll see more efficiency and a better run on a daily basis. So what I want to do today is run you through different mobility, activation, and locomotion drills, because those 3 areas are the key of every effective dynamic warm-up. Okay, so first up we have mobility. What simple drills can we work on to help loosen up the joints and the soft tissue to help reduce tension and get us ready for the runs? What I'm going to show you today is a very simple approach. This isn't perfect, but this is better if you are not including any kind of dynamic warm-up. First thing, just regular leg swings, coming across the body and up to the side. Again, very simple. Opening up through the hip joint in the frontal plane, abductors, adductors. Again, doing both sides, just running through about 10 to 20 repetitions or swings. Also letting that bottom foot move just a little bit on the ground. Don't keep it completely stationary or still, because we can get a little bit of opening up between the metatarsals down there. Next up, coming forward and backwards. Okay, leg swings forward and back. Now we're thinking hip flexors, hamstrings, glutes. A lot of these muscles in the front and the back of the thigh and the hip. Okay, both sides, same thing, 10 to 20 repetitions. After that, I like to look down at the ankle joint. So ankle mobility, keeping the foot flat on the ground, stepping against the wall, or you could do it out in space. Just trying to lunge the knee to the wall without letting the heel lift up. You should feel some stretching down the lower calf and the soleus, but a very good way to help loosen up the ankle and the calf, which obviously is quite important as you get into your run. Same thing, about 10 to 20 repetitions. If you notice you're pretty close to the wall in this one, you can't touch the knee to the wall, something you should do a little more regularly. And then from there, going up to the shoulders. Again, loosening up the shoulders. Obviously, we want to work on this nice fluid running motion. So having range of motion through the shoulders is important. Okay, so those 4 simple things are very effective to work on from a mobility standpoint before your runs. Next up, we have activation. I want to show you 4 very simple but effective ways to activate different areas of the body that are very important for running. So first one, calf raises. We all know calf raises or heel raises. Again, warming up and activating those muscles through the bottom of the foot and the calf. Think of all those motions in running as we push off, propel, and leave the ground, using the calf and the foot muscles to really propel ourselves. So getting those firing early on is important. Okay, after that, I like the sumo squat because we're still getting flexibility through the adductor, where a lot of runners tend to get tight because we're always moving forward and backwards, and activating to a great degree through the muscles of the hips and the quad. So sitting back, knees out, trying to always make sure those knees are tracking with the toes, butt back, trying to get nice and low, arms in front here, use that as a counterbalance, but good range of motion through the hips and knees. But really activating and squeezing through the hips. Another one, a little more hip dominant, is the single leg deadlift. So back is flat, leg kicks up. Balance and stability through this one, because obviously running happens a great degree on a single leg. So starting to prep those muscles around the lower leg and get a lot of stability through the hip. And also some of those postural muscles through the back. If we're keeping a nice flat back, some of those muscles throughout the back that keep the back extended will be firing through here, but same thing, working on 10 to 20 per side. I always say, if you notice a difference from one side to the other side, do a couple extra repetitions on that weaker side. From there, our last one is just a single leg balance drill, okay? All we're gonna do is opposite arm, opposite leg, drive up, hold. In this position, maintaining good alignment, good balance and stability. You should always feel like these muscles on the lower leg are firing, the quad and the hamstring are firing to keep the knee and the hip engaged and upright, okay? And we're just gonna hold that for about 30 seconds per side. Because running happens so much on a single leg, having single leg balance and stability is so important just to make sure we have an efficient running cycle. So that's 4 activation exercises. Next, we'll take a look at locomotion. The last part of this dynamic warm-up is locomotion. Again, plain and simple, skipping, jumping, hopping, shuffling, just moving from point A to point B with different types of movement patterns. So I like to start with a low skip, okay? Pushing off the toes. Again, skipping is really part of that foundation for running. So getting the push off, still drive the knees up, very similar to the running cycle, okay? After we do that low skip, we're gonna come up a little bit higher. We're gonna go A skips, which is a little more forceful into the ground. It's a faster motion, so it really helps work on that coordination and timing, okay? Nice push off, coordinating arms and legs, okay? From there, lateral straight leg bound, a little more hip focus, driving through the outside of the hips and the glutes, okay? Pushing off the toes still, so we're still warming up and activating throughout the lower leg. And then last one I like to do here is a lateral shuffle with a nice wide arm swing. So opening up through the chest and the shoulders. Make sure we have good posture here. But those are 4 different locomotion drills that you could do. Say if you're going to run and you're going to start on your run, instead of walking or jogging, just continue that locomotion into your run, because it should transition you within about a minute or so right into your jogging speed. And it's a very seamless or effortless locomotion before your dynamic warm-up. Okay, there you have it. No more excuses. You know some simple strategies to work on. Get all upright, nothing get on the ground, nothing using a foam roller, nothing challenging. So there'd be no excuses why you can't complete that in just 3 to 5 minutes before your run. But working on mobility, activation, and locomotion is a very simple but effective way to incorporate within your dynamic warm-up to then see better improvements once you get into your run. That's it, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to comment, and I hope you have a great run and a lot of success with your training.